I don't want to believe the things that I believe. Quite honestly, I can't believe I'm the guy on national television that comes to you every night and says, hey, there's some big effort afoot, and members of our own government are part of it, and it's all about global rule. That doesn't even sound reasonable. It really doesn't. When I come to you and say, we could be looking at the end of our sovereignty as we know it, we are looking at the end of the republic as we know it. I know how that sounds. And I wouldn't, nor I couldn't come on to television every day and tell you that if we hadn't done our homework. We do draw conclusions that others may not. But I haven't met anyone who has done the homework that we have. We talk to people, I talk to people on the street all the time. Say, oh, that's crazy. Do you know this, 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 this? No. Oh, well, you should watch the show. Because once you put it all together, do you think you could understand this show and understand what we're talking about and the trouble that's coming if you hadn't watched this show almost every day? No, it can't be done. Nobody else is covering this. But love me or hate me, if you know me, you know that I'm not unreasonable. And I know you're not unreasonable either. But we must think out of the box, because our biggest problem right now is we are battling this idea that, somebody told me just the other day, that the biggest battle is when people feel something is normal. It's a protection device that we have. In humans, we protect ourselves, and so we look for things that are normal. Even in the most crazy circumstances, we look for something that is normal, and then we hang on to it. And we have to be able to think out of the box, because times are not normal. It is our saving grace, but it is also our Achilles heel. It'll make you look at stories and say, no, that's crazy, because it's so far out of the norm. But we have to be willing to accept the things that are out of the norm if we want to save our republic. Unfortunately, we are going to find out, because the goal behind all of this is to fundamentally change the structure of power all over the globe. Don't believe me? Watch.
So how are we going to achieve a new global economic order?
As students, as workers, or as global citizens?
We created global trade, we created global finance, we created global companies, but we forgot to create a global government.
A new set of rules for the whole world.
Global governance and global agreements.
So I think you need a new world order.
The burdens of global citizenship continue to bind us together.
You can say this means whatever. When we got rid of the Articles of Confederation and we moved to the Constitution, the founders put out something called the Federalist Papers, and they were the argument for the new Constitution. And they said, this is what it is, this is what it does, this is how it works. Do you know how this global order works? Do you know they're saying we're headed for state capitalism, and everybody is fine with state capitalism? But it's not state capitalism that we're headed towards. Capitalism is nonsense to these people. They hate capitalism. This state capitalism, what they call the system over in China. We used to call it communism. But what they did is they let people have some ownership. It's a hybrid. It's the middle step. It's socialism. So we know it is socialism. State, national, global. Which will it be? By the way, national globalism or national socialism is Mussolini. Is it global? We know it's not state, because we're headed for a global order. National, it's global socialism. How's that going to work? We know how we're going to get there. If you take the people at their word, the way to do it is through chaos. Julian Assange now has said so himself. Chaos is his goal. It's not transparency. The hacktivists who support him talked of creating a force for chaotic good. What is that? It achieves their end. Van Jones is talking about creating chaos when he talks about bottom up, inside out, and the top comes crashing down. Let me bring in this one from Walmart. You stand in line now at Walmart and you're going to see this.
Homeland security begins with hometown security. That's why I'm pleased that Walmart is helping to make our communities more safe and secure. If you see something suspicious in the parking lot or in the store, say something immediately. Report suspicious activity to your local police or sheriff. If you need help, ask a Walmart manager for assistance.
Is somebody making bombs in the parking lot of Walmart? Is somebody in the sock department doing something that I don't know about? Reporting suspicious activity. Does this include shoplifters? Because if it does, why is the Department of Homeland Security now at my local Walmart? The top down. Those you see marching in Europe, those setting fire by releasing stolen documents are looking for chaos. Responsible citizens of the U.S. are looking for transparency and accountability and limited government. Do not confuse the two goals. The enemy of your enemy is not your friend. That kind of thinking is what led to our nightmares in the Middle East. I don't believe going for chaos, but I do believe in limited government. I believe in government, but limited. This is not the way to get that. We haven't had limited government in I don't know how long, 100 years? The ways to get limited government is not to collapse it. That is a way to get totalitarian government. That is what revolutionaries do, especially if they are looking for state capitalism. Bottom up, inside out, top down. The bottom is coming up. This is what they're going to use as their weapon, this and race.
Rush Limbaugh has the right to say whatever he wants to say. He does not have the right to do it, though, on publicly regulated airwaves. The FCC has a responsibility to set standards to say the public cannot be offended based on their race or their gender in this country and use federally regulated airwaves that they give licenses to that are very competitive, and the FCC is very selective based on standards.
May I ask you two questions? Do you think it's reasonable that you are going to spend your whole life not being offended? Who deems what's offensive and what is not? Government? If you don't wake up your friends and family and your neighbors, we are in for tough, tough times because a lot has changed while we were all sleeping. They were not sleeping. The left has been preparing and indoctrinating. Where are those children for the Republic? Where are those children for the Constitution and the founders? You must teach your children the truth of our country. This kid's 15 years old. 15 years old. Ours are on Facebook and Xbox. If we are not prepared, this scene, if we don't get them off of Xbox, this scene is going to look like this. Prepare your children so they can defend the Republic in thought and heart. Back in a minute.